Welcome back. Today we are doing a book review. This time it is of The Master Jeweler by Weina de Randel. This is a historical fiction with a little bit of a slow burn romance, found family, mystery. There are themes of feminism / misogyny, xenophobia, racism. Yeah. That being said, we're going to dive right in. So the premise of this book is we follow Anu, who is a young Chinese woman. She meets this man, Isaac. Isaac is going from Russia to China. He has one of the Fabergé eggs. Pausing here, if you don't know what the Fabergé egg is, it was commissioned by the House of Fabergé. They were specifically made for the Russian czars between 1885 and 1917. These are very real things. There were 71 known eggs. 57 of them are currently surviving. 50 of them, though, which are the 50 that we talk about, or I should say that are mentioned in the book, were specifically imperial. So these were the ones that were for the Russian czars. The men gifted these eggs as Easter eggs, Easter gifts, I should say, to the women, the wives, the mothers, and you know, during the First World War, a lot of them had disappeared or were hidden, and that's kind of what we're dealing with right now, right, in this book. So Isaac has one of these eggs, and Anu, this is how she meets him. She finds this one of these cases, and it has one of the imperial eggs, and she absolutely falls in love with the artwork of the Fabergé egg. It turns out that it was Isaac's, and Isaac kind of explained like what this is, and he was headed to a different part of China, and he is a master jeweler. So he has it because he's hiding it from people that were going to exploit them. With that being said, right, Anu goes to find him and begs for Isaac's family to take her in. She's willing to do everything she can to learn about jewelry. At first it was selling, and then she finally convinced Isaac to teach her all of the methods of jewelry. Now, I do want to say that it's not typical. One, it's not typical for women at the time to be jewelers, right? There were a few, but they weren't specifically from China. Number two, it wasn't really known for someone who's not biological family to become an apprentice of the house to become a master jeweler eventually. So yes, so this is kind of where her found family is. They take her in. She really loves this family. They love her. They look out for her. She looks out for them, etc. There's a lot more to that, but I'm trying not to give spoilers away, okay? But with the slow burn, she does eventually fall in love with Isaac, and this is where some complications come in, because he's kind of like a mixture of a father figure, and also she's deeply in love with this man. She's Anu, right? Our main character is an orphan herself. And even though she knows of her father thinks her existence is null and void. So yeah, daddy issues, anyone? But our villain is also an adoptee, which, you know, I will get into that, but sorry, just gonna give a quick rant. As some of you know that have been around for a while, I do adoption education and content as an adoptee as well, and quite often adoptees are made to be villains, and it's very frustrating. So I kind of like that there is a balance between Anu and the actual villain. But our villain, who I honestly can't even remember her exact name, but anyway, she's also Chinese, but she was also orphaned because of the war, and then she was adopted by a Japanese family. So even though she's biologically Chinese, she identifies as Japanese. Listen, I thought it was very interesting myself. Anyway, moving on. That will be in the future because that was like, oh, okay. That was a whole thing itself, right? Anyway, so we have the whole premise. The majority of the book is Anu learning to become a jeweler, and the craftsmanship, and you know, not only what she endures, right, but her struggle with learning to be open more, her struggle with, you know, her creativity at times, her struggle with wanting to people please. And we see this throughout the book, and like I said, there's found family, and it ends up being fairly okay. So we'll keep that in mind. But there's also mystery because eventually there's murders. There is theft, and Anu, she is determined to fix everything. She's determined to solve everything. She's determined to make things right. And it doesn't matter how long she takes. She doesn't care that she gets injured, very sick. She fights for the right for the House of Mandel, right? That's her. That's who took her in and helped her become a master jeweler, and you know, she truly cares about this family. And so by the end, she's being forced to by our villain, right, to work in impossible conditions, which does really make her sick, to create these Fabergé eggs, or replicate some Fabergé eggs. And this woman, you know, who she just wants to take over. She wants to take over China. And she has this obsession with the eggs. And, you know, Anu was trying to understand it because she thinks it's beautiful, but it was more of that entitlement. And I think that was the huge difference between these two main characters, right? Anu said, okay, I will work my hardest, right, to have access to the Fabergé eggs. Whereas our villain is a colonizer, right? She's like, I don't care. I'll kill, I'll still, you know, I'll steal, I'll plot, I'll create war. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to get access to that. And I think because of the way that these two grew up, even in their prospective adoptive homes, right? Anu wasn't officially adopted, but let's just keep that in mind. That it was very different, right? One our villain was a samurai, and although there's a lot of honor, and I don't negate that, it was the way that they taught her, like, hey, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, and this is yours, right? But in the way that she grew up, which is really with a Russian family, after the age of 16, she, you know, learned very differently. She did learn honor, she learned respect, she had hard work. It was just a different perspective, a different way of coming at things. So in that, I really do like I said, this was my reread. It was an ARC read originally from NetGalley. Weina Randel has a lot of other historical fiction books out there set around the same time, so I will eventually get to them. I have a lot of other books that I plan on reading way before that. But I hope you guys take a gander if this is right up your alley. Anyway, I hope you all have a terrific day, and I will see you guys next time.